Yes, guys, what's going on? Welcome to AdamMcKola TV. I am Adam. We are less than an hour away from kickoff in Club Brugge against Manchester United in the last 32 of the Europa League. I am at home today. Radio Gaz is covering for me in Belgium for Full-Time Devils. I've got a friend's wedding tomorrow, so I couldn't make it out there to Belgium and get back in time in order to make the wedding. So I'm here at home with you guys throughout the day. I'll be live on AdamMcKola TV right now, as you can see, obviously, discussing the game ahead, giving you the latest team news, which has been announced and confirmed before the game, with 6 changes to the Manchester United lineup from the team that beat Chelsea earlier on in the week. So I'll give you that team news very, very soon. But Manchester United against Club Brugge. As I said, I'll be live now, live after the game here on AdamMcKola TV, as well as a live over on Full-Time Devils too, while you are waiting for those fan cams. So make sure you're with us throughout the night here on AdamMcKola TV, and of course over on Full-Time Devils. But right now, let's get stuck into the team news. Like I said, 6 changes to the starting 11 from the team that beat Chelsea. Romero comes in goal. Lindelof comes in for Bailly in the defence. Delo comes in for Aaron Wan-Bissaka. Andreas for Matic. I've done it wrong there. I've noticed my mistake already. Don't you worry about that. It is Andreas and Matic in there. Fred was given a rest. It's Matic that is in there. So do excuse me on that. I'm going to change it right about now, you Funk Soul brothers. So don't worry about that. We're going to get this changed right now. But the team news, as I said, Romero, Maguire, Lindelof. Then we've got Shaw in that back three like we have seen before. And then, of course, we've got in the 4 in front of them, we've got Matic, we've got Andreas, we've got Delo. Brandon Williams gets another start as well, which is, of course, great news for Manchester United. And then we've got Mata, Martial and Lingard, who's come into the starting 11 for Manchester United. Unfortunately, no start for AdamMcKola. But the team news, like I said, 6 changes with Lindelof, Delo, Andreas, Mata and Lingard coming in for Daniel James, Bruno Fernandes, Fred, Aaron Wan-Bissaka and Eric Bailly, who obviously had a fantastic performance against Chelsea. But with him just returning from injury, we have to take it easy with Eric Bailly. A well-deserved night off for De Gea, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Bruno, Fred, Daniel James. Should AdamMcKola have got a start? Maybe he's not ready for a start just yet. We've got to bear in mind that AdamMcKola not long come back. Like his season with in the Chinese Super League finished last year. So he's coming into it where he hasn't had much football. So we're going to have to take it easy with AdamMcKola, or maybe bring him into the game later on in the day. The last time we played Club Brugge was in 2015. We beat them 4-0 with Wayne Rooney scoring a hat-trick for Manchester United. A result like that today would put it to bed going into the second leg. But I think it's not going to be that one way. It's not going to be as clear-cut as that one. I am confident of us getting a win, even with the changes. When you look at like Romero coming in goal, is that much of an issue? Romero coming in, I mean, he's kept plenty of clean sheets for Manchester United. Then you look at the back three, Lindelof coming in for Bailly. That's usually been, you know, the one that would start, so that's not much of an issue. Delo coming in for Wan-Bissaka, I'm not upset by that. Maybe a little question mark over, should we have gone a little bit stronger in terms of playing Bruno or Fred? Is Oli maybe taking one eye off the ball, or is he right to make these changes? I think he's right to make these changes. Nadaz Sweets is saying it's a very strange lineup. I don't think it is. When you look at it, Mason Greenwood didn't train, and I don't believe he travelled with the Manchester United squad out there. So we've only currently got 2 strikers. Now you may see Mata and Lingard will play in behind Martial more than Lingard playing up alongside Martial. But if we played AdamMcKola, who's not fully fit yet, alongside Martial, we haven't got any strikers on the bench. So it does make more sense to play one of them at a time. There's no need making, you know, stupid decisions. Playing both your strikers, one of them gets injured, you haven't got one coming off the bench. Digvish is disappointed, no Igalo starting. I am too. But let's relax a little bit. He's got his former club coming up on the weekend. We've got another game in 2-3 days on Sunday against Watford. So we need to be ready for that game as well. And maybe he'll start in that game. And maybe he's destined to score his first goal against his former club in his first game at Old Trafford. Who knows? But he doesn't start today. The starting lineup: Romero, Maguire, Lindelof, Shaw, Delo, Andreas, Matic, Williams, Mata, Martial and Lingard. And can Martial grab another goal as well? He's got 13 goals this season. Obviously, I think he's played... when you compare his starts, he's in and around 1 and 2. Which is pretty good. His form in January wasn't good enough. We need to see better from him. His performance against Chelsea was a little bit better. You'd think against someone like Club Brugge would be the opportunity to score the goals. Now, obviously, you're taking out a little bit of your creativity, but you're hoping Andreas, Mata, Jesse Lingard could provide those opportunities and create those gaps for Anthony Martial to punish this Club Brugge defence. If he can get an early goal, if he can get a goal under his belt, then he'll be feeling confident about, maybe getting 1 or 2 and getting his tally closer up to that 20 mark, because we need him to be getting over 20 goals this season, especially with Marcus Rashford out. I am absolutely gutted for Marcus Rashford. We've obviously heard the news that Marcus Rashford may not be available for the rest of the season, and just when it looked like he was going to finally get that 25 goal plus season, he goes and gets an injury which would keep him out when he's on 19 goals in fantastic return rate. That's so unfortunate for Marcus Rashford. I hope it's just Ollie being a little bit sceptical and maybe keeping everyone on their toes and trying to knock back all the questions that he'll receive about him in the coming weeks about the Euros. But fingers crossed he does get back. But I'd be gutted for him if he doesn't. And if he doesn't, we need Martial, we need Igalo, we need Mason Greenwood, we need the rest of the lads chipping in with the goals. And hopefully Anthony Martial is going to have about 20 games now, hopefully, between now and the end of the season. He needs to get at least another 10 goals under his belt there. And you'd look at a 23, 25 goal season. And considering he's had 2 months out, that would be more than good enough. But we need him to get the goals. And fingers crossed that carries on today, because he had a much more improved performance against Chelsea. Now, also an interesting position, Juan Mata coming in for Bruno Fernandes. You'd like to think he's not going to start up front, and you wouldn't expect him to play alongside Nemanja Matic. So I've gone with him in that number 10 position, a little bit just off Martial and Lingard, where Bruno Fernandes played. Now, of course, you're going to see Andreas drifting, you're going to see Mata drifting, and they'll probably rotate Lingard too. But Juan Mata's creativity is going to be very, very important. We need him to be pulling those strings in there. We need him to be, to be creating those opportunities, dinking those balls over the defence in between the lines, and hopefully creating something for Manchester United strikers, or in this case Anthony Martial, to put away. You're looking at the back three again. United have gone with. We've kept Delo in, Williams, Shaw, Lindelof, Maguire. So we've got 5 defenders again. It looks like that's something Ollie's maybe going to stick with for the remainder of the season. And what are you guys thinking about with that one? What do you think about in terms of the back three? Are you happy with that? I do think it's quite good. I think Maguire plays better in a back three. Lindelof probably plays better in a back three. Luke Shaw plays better there when he doesn't have the responsibility of bombing forward. Aaron Wan-Bissaka has been a one-man right wing most of this season, so him having that little bit extra cover makes total sense as well. Brandon Williams likes to get forward, makes sense. And with the players that we've got, the lack of midfielders we have, we can't really play 3 in midfield too often. It's a good choice to have for Manchester United going forward. So yeah, I'm happy with that. Obviously, it depends on the games as well and the opposition, and you might need to change things tactically. So you do need to be flexible, but it is something Ollie seems to be sticking with at the moment, and maybe we've found a kind of rhythm playing in this formation. I was watching the Chelsea game back a little bit earlier on today, and I was impressed with the especially in the second half, the intensity, the enthusiasm, the pressing, the getting in each other's faces. Wan-Bissaka and Brandon Williams were really feisty and getting at it. Now we're without Wan-Bissaka today. Delo needs to come in and do a job. Lindelof needs to come in and show that, Eric Bailly's not going to have things his own way, because Eric Bailly looked pretty good the other day. So these players need to come in and stake a claim for a place in the first 11. The champion's going for 3-0 United flow riders laughing at Simon Mignolet in goal, knowing him he'll probably pull off a worldie of a performance and turn into, I don't know, prime Manuel Neuer or something. As far as we don't play our legend Jones in the back three, we should be good as a day. I don't want it to be permanent. Some games it works, others go for the force as Mo. Yeah, we have to show that tactical flexibility, of course. The champion thinks Martial is going to get a brace. Tony's concerned that the midfield's a little bit weak and we may get overrun. I can see what you're saying, especially with just Matic, Andreas and Mata. It's important Andreas Pereira sticks with Matic and tries to help him out, because Mata's more forward thinking. Lingard's probably going to be a lot more forward thinking, so you need Andreas Pereira to be digging in and helping out. And to be fair to Andreas Pereira, the question mark has never been over his application or his commitment or his willingness to fight for the team. There's never been any question marks over that. It's been over his quality and his decision making. Now at the moment, we need that to be better, obviously, but it's never been a concern in terms of his ability to track back and do the dirty things. So I'm sure he will try to help out Nemanja Matic in this game and get back there supporting him. Let's have a look for Club Brugge's 11. That should be somewhere. It's a 100th appearance for Victor Lindelof as well, which I've just read on Manchester United's Twitter, so congratulations to him. And Jesse Lingard's 200th appearance for the club, so congratulations to him as well. Let me just find Club Brugge's Twitter, and we'll see what their team is saying. Team news, there we go. Mignolet in goal. How have they written this? One, two. I think they've gone with a 3-4-1-2 as well. I don't get their team news. Like, why is there so many names on that list? So bizarre. Guys, if you want to see it, check out their Twitter page, but their team sheet's really bizarre. But I think it's the names in yellow, because surely, have they got 11 subs? Maybe they have. Anyway, their team news: Mignolet in goal, Deli, Mashele, Kusunu in the back three, De Cooper, Balanta, Ritz, Mata in the 4, Van Aken, Dennis and Tau in the front three, sorry. So that's their team news right there. Percy Tau obviously up top for them. That's the player I've heard most about in their team, obviously without mentioning Simon Mignolet. Percy Tau is one of those that I've heard a lot more about. 25-year-old South African player, but again, I don't know a whole host about him. He's on loan from Brighton and Hove Albion at the moment. I'm not sure whether he's played for Brighton at all. Let me have a look. Has he played for Brighton? No, he hasn't yet played for Brighton, so he's been out on loan, and he's the one that I know more of. Whether he's been playing well for them, 4 goals in 19 games, playing up top. So it doesn't scream of a great record, does it, from Percy Tau? But he's starting up top for them, and he is from Brighton and Hove Albion. And now I've just said that, he's probably going to go and score, isn't he? Club Brugge are number 1 in the Belgian league at the moment. They're enjoying a nice time of it as we speak. They've done all right in the Champions League as well. Now, I know they went out, but they had a few positive fixtures in the Champions League. When you think about the way things went for them, they did score a few goals along the way as well. So it's not been too bad for them. They lost 3-1 at home against Real Madrid, and I think they scored a few goals at the Bernabeu. They only lost 1-0 away to PSG. They lost 5-0 at home against PSG, which is a battering, but they got a 2-2 draw with a man sent off at the Bernabeu. So they've not done too badly in some games, but they do obviously have the knack to concede a lot of goals as well, as we've seen with that 5-0 against PSG. Andy Williams isn't happy with it. Oh mate, Delo is starting. Why is he in the bench as well? Why have I done that? Delo's starting, mate. He's definitely in the starting lineup. That starting lineup is correct, Amundo. It's just that the rest of it isn't. I think Bailly's the one missing from that. Let me see. I'll change it now. No. Bailly's not the one missing from that. Who's the one missing from that? I don't know who I've left off that bench. Let me have a look. I'll have a look. I'm having a little bit of a mare today with these graphics, and I have organised these graphics, and I've had an absolute mare. So let me just see who I've left off the bench. The bench is as follows: De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Bailly, who are both there. James, who's there. Fred, Bruno, and Igalo. Yeah, so Delo doesn't need to be there. That's it. That's what I got wrong. Yeah, I can't count, clearly. That's my issue at this moment in time. I am feeling confident about this game though, guys. I do think Manchester United are going to win, which worries me whenever I expect us to win. I thought we'd draw against Chelsea and we went there and got a comfortable win. I say comfortable, I know the first half was a little bit of a worry, and Chelsea had a little bit of the better chances, but United got the goal. And once we went 1-0 in front, there was never any looking back really, and we were the better team in the tie in the game. So I thought that was a good performance. We need to keep it up. Obviously, a lot of changes could disrupt things, but we need to try and not make that happen. Important matter. Andreas has good games today. Jesse Lingard, big opportunity for Jesse Lingard. He's not been in the team much recently. Looks like Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has given up a little bit of hope in him. Especially with now we're getting Bruno Fernandes, getting a few players back fit. He's going to have to show that he's up for the fight. And there's rumours over his future at the club. Is he going to leave? Is he going to stay? Who knows what happens in the summer. But if he does want to stay at Manchester United, which I'm sure Jesse Lingard does, then he needs to start performing. As goes for everybody. They all need consistency in their performance. Andreas Pereira needs to perform today. That's for sure. And I think Victor Lindelof needs to perform if he doesn't want Bailly to take his spot. So we need to see some consistency in performance, but Jesse Lingard is one of those that really does need a performance, and I'd love to see him get a goal or assist, or even just have a good performance today to get that, to break the duck and just start to feel a little bit better about himself. Why is this coach taking us to the mental hospital again with Lingard and Pereira? We've got a game in 3 days' time. Now, if top 4 was done and dusted, he probably doesn't make these changes, but top 4 isn't done and dusted. Top 4 is still open, so you've got to understand the need to juggle things a little bit, and we should be getting a result. You can't look at that team and say we shouldn't be getting a result. Do you know what I mean? Yes, champion, love the comment. Ilya thinks United are going to win 2-0. Amaloma was expecting to see Bruno. Delo will be whipping them in today, says Darren. Karen says Lingard, Mata and Andreas together doesn't look good at all. It doesn't seem very balanced for me. That's the problem. I maybe would have wanted to see Fred start, and then one of maybe Andreas or Mata, and then you take Fred off with Bruno coming on maybe a little bit later in the game. But he's made the changes. He's given these guys a chance, and they need to step up and take it. When I look at that team, I see no excuses for not getting a result today. We should be going to Old Trafford with a result. Whether that's a victory or a draw, whatever, we should be going there needing to get the job done at Old Trafford. Easy. No uphill battles. Cheers, August. I appreciate that, man. Very weak midfield, says Man United fan in the comments. Trigger says, I've read that comment out already. Only way Bailly doesn't get that spot is if he gets injured again, says Mo Wadder, and I do agree with you, mate. For me, he's United's best centre-half when fit. Now, that may be controversial. Some of you may think Harry Maguire. That's totally fine. I can understand that argument. But I am a big fan of Eric Bailly when he's fit. And I do think Harry Maguire has really come into his own in the last couple of weeks. Seems to have flourished having been given that armband. I recently said I'm not sure whether he should have been given the armband or so early in his career at United. And maybe, that I still feel that way a little bit. I feel like it should be something to be earned. But since he's got it, he has been performing well. He scored a few goals. I thought his performance against Chelsea, even without the goal, was pretty good. He looked composed in possession. He's looking a lot better in the back three as well. He's taking some responsibility. He looks like he's stepping up. So, I've been impressed with Harry Maguire recently. Cheers, McKenna. I appreciate that. Igalo should get 30 minutes, says Manav. Do you think we can get the 3 points against Watford, says Javid? Of course I do, mate. Math Alritri says, I think Fred, McTominay, Bruno midfield is incoming in the Prem. Sounds about right, doesn't it? It'd be good that. What happened to Greenwood? He wasn't in training the other day, and I don't believe he travelled with the squad, so he must have a little injury or maybe an illness. But yeah, he wasn't involved. Guys, get hitting that like button for me right now. Get your thoughts in ahead of the game. We are around 40 minutes away from kickoff. I'll be with you for the next 15, 20 minutes, however long you want to keep this going. But make sure you're hitting that like button. Get your comments and your super chats in ahead of the game. Let us know your thoughts. Manchester United are in last 32 Europa League action tonight against Club Brugge. The team news is Romero, Dalot, Lindelof, Maguire, Shaw, Williams, Matic, Andreas, Mata, Lingard and Martial are in the starting lineup with a 3-4-1-2 formation. The most likely, is it Mata in the hole, Lingard in the hole, or Andreas? Who knows? But there does seem to be a little bit of an imbalance in there. I would expect Andreas to be the one that sits a little bit deeper with Matic, and then Mata and Lingard to share that role in terms of joining up with Martial in the front in the front two, and of course pulling the strings in the number 10 position, hopefully anyway. On the subs bench we've got De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Bailly, James, Fred, Fernandes and Ighalo on the substitute bench. Get your predictions, your thoughts, your super chats, everything in. Let us know how you're feeling ahead of the game. Are you confident today? I'm confident. I'm reading the replies to one of Full-Time Devils tweets, and not many people are confident at all. So I don't get it. Yep, no one's happy with the team. I don't know why people overreact so much. Let's see how the performance is first. If we lose, then okay, you know what I mean. But at the moment, I don't think it's that big of a deal. But yeah, let us know your thoughts anyway. I'm going for a 2-0 win to United. Flo Rider, surely not the real one, is going for a 1-0 win for United. Ben Allen says, why no Mason? I believe he is injured or ill, mate. He wasn't training with the team yesterday. De Ligt has been trashed this season. Maguire was the better signing, says Jutaru. Like I would say with Maguire, if he wasn't performing well, you can't judge them so soon. De Ligt's very young as well, so just relax a little bit. But I'm delighted that we signed Harry Maguire. Another clean sheet for Romero, says Javid. Bailly, Bruno and Ighalo should be coming on as subs. I think Bailly wouldn't have been able to start even if Oli wanted to start him today. But I wouldn't mind seeing him come off the bench as well. Obviously depends how the game is setting up. Dylan Watton thinks we're going to see 2-0 with an Ighalo brace. So Ighalo coming off the bench at 0-0 and grabbing 2 goals. That would be a dream for him, wouldn't it? Guaranteed clean sheet with Romero. So it's 3-0 for Mo Wada. I'm going for a 2-0 United with Martial to score and Ighalo to score off the bench. I tweeted earlier saying he was going to score a hat-trick. I was only joking, but now he's not. I'm sure I'm going to get quoted, tweeted, like how. Anyway, Bal Abrahamson's not confident. Going for a 3-1 Bruges. 3-0 United, says Abdi Nasser. 2-0 United, says Ilya. Leipzig played with 3 at the back yesterday. It's not a defensive formation. Our coach is just defensive. Is he? I'm not sure he really is defensive, to be honest with you. Whether you're happy with the football or not is a question mark. Okay, fine. But, you know, we've just beaten Chelsea. It was a good performance. I don't understand the negativity now. I can understand some of the complaints over the starting 11. But let's relax a little bit, yeah. Let's enjoy wins. Let's look forward to games with a little bit of hope. And then be gutted and angry after if they go wrong. I like to be just wildly optimistic as a fan. That's what we all have to do as football fans. Even if we get things wrong. Even if we're a bit deluded. Yes, when dust settles and we can look back and think, okay, I got that wrong, or I got that right, or I thought this, or I thought that. But let's just enjoy the ride as well. Let's want Ollie to succeed. Because if he proves us wrong, do you know how fucking amazing that's going to be? Can you imagine lifting trophies with Ollie? That would be so sick. Do you know how sick that would be? Even a league, even obviously we're not in the League Cup anymore this season, but even a League Cup trophy. So buzzing to win a trophy with a legend as manager. Now I have my doubts. I wouldn't be surprised to see Poch coming in the summer. But while he's here, let's get behind him. Let's enjoy the ride. Let's hope for the best and fear the worst, rather than just have a bitch and a moan all the way. Because when we win, can't enjoy it, can you? That team is pretty weak, says Jacob. 6 changes. I think the back 5, Maguire, Lindelof, Shaw, Delors, Williams, and the goalkeeper, Romero. It's not bad, is it? Matic and Martial, they started the other day. Mata in number 10, that's not bad. I think the only question marks are over Andreas and Lingard's inclusion. So is it really that bad of a team? Or am I just being wildly optimistic as usual? Let me know in those comments. 2 goals away will kill Brugge, says Tony. I'm focused on Watford then tonight, but hope we win, says Ross. Andreas, Mata and Lingard to score, says Sidearms. I still think Bay is our best defender and should be given time and run of games. He would surely prove everyone wrong, says Curran. Gatale thinks we're going to win 1-0. Our inconsistency is the problem. We should be beating these easy. Whether that happens or not is another thing. And that is the thing. We never know what Manchester United's going to turn up, do we? Excuse me. Jim Bob says, when's the actual team going to be announced? People love to complain, says Lewis. I see why he made changes due to the fixtures on Sunday. Yeah, it is true. We've got Watford on Sunday. So maybe having that little bit of energy in De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, James, Bailly and Fred and Bruno will be the difference on Sunday against Watford. Watford aren't playing. Where is my boy Phil the Goat Jones, says Juturu. Pereira and Lingard to bag. Let's go, boys. I think a little bit of my delusion's been rubbing off on Moada. That's the way forward, mate. Let's do it. Let's be deluded, eh? Let's be deluded together. Manchester United, Club Brugge. Does anyone think we're going to win the Europa League this season? It's obviously a difficult trophy to win when you look at some of the teams in it. Inter Milan are in it, although they may get distracted by the Serie A title race. Let's have a look at the teams that are in it. Cluj and Sevilla are playing. United and Bruges are playing. Copenhagen and Celtic. So imagine Sevilla, United, Celtic, Frankfurt or Salzburg, Ajax or Getafe, Inter, Benfica or Shakhtar, Sporting or Başakşehir, AZ Alkmaar, Roma, Leverkusen or Porto, Arsenal or Olympiacos, Rangers or Braga, Wolves, Wolfsburg. There's a lot of fucking big teams left in this competition. Espanyol, they're not been, doing too badly in the league. Having said that, the bottom of the league, sorry. I was thinking of, who was I thinking of when I thought of Espanyol? Real Sociedad, that's who I thought of. The lads with Odegaard and Januzaj and all those lads. Natil Brur says, happy he's giving Jesse another chance. He needs to turn up. Brandon Williams could literally play every game. We can give it a go, but I'll be more focused on the top 4. Maybe do a Chelsea last season, says Ross. I do think top 4 is all up in the air. Obviously, you got Spurs, you got Sheffield United in the mix, you got Chelsea. It's going to be difficult to get that top 4, but I wouldn't mind getting it. Obviously, the Europa League's a cup competition, so it's difficult. Would you take Mike Smaldini back next season? No, I wouldn't. Andy says Daniel James should not start at the weekend. He's been terrible. I tend to agree with that. I don't think he was too bad against Chelsea, but I tend to agree with that. His final end product hasn't been that great. Everyone has been focused on Martial's performances because he's been underperforming in the last month, but Daniel James hasn't been, he's probably been worse than him in some games as well. So I do hear what you're saying. Yes, Adam Ayashe, IWIAY. I know you're friends with Steve, but why does it come across like you tell people how to support a team? That's just Steve, mate. Ignore him. Fairly near each other, Sociedad and Bilbao. I'd love to see Adrian come off the bench. Yes, we need to see that happen. Espanyol have been shit, but they might show up, says Mo. Would have preferred Igalo instead of Lingard, with Tony Marshall, with Delors and Mark Williams as wing-back. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm not sure if you missed it. I think the reasoning behind that is to have a striker on the bench. If we play Igalo and Martial, we've got no striker on the bench. If one or both of them get injured, we've got no striker at the weekend. We're not sure what's wrong with Mason Greenwood. But it's up in the air at the moment. Scott Wynn says, hi Adam, who's your money on for Fury or Wilder? Well, I'm going to let you know a secret right now. Me and Dean are recording a preview for the Fury and Wilder fight tomorrow, which is going to be up on Straight Up Now the link for Straight Up is in the description below. The last video we recorded a video 2 weeks for Straight Up and it got corrupted. So we are going to upload tomorrow with a Fury Wilder preview. And then on Sunday or Monday, me and Dean are recording with Head Movement TV a reaction to Fury and Wilder 2 and a look to, you know, all the other heavyweight clashes which are ahead. So make sure you're keeping it locked to Straight Up. The link is in the description below for Straight Up. AdamMcKola TV will keep all the football content and all that stuff, and Straight Up will be something else where I go to talk about boxing and talk about music and talk about, you know, just general news and entertainment and all that stuff over there. So if you like the sound of that, then hit this link in the description below to subscribe to Straight Up. The latest video will be on there tomorrow evening probably, and it's a Fury Wilder 2 preview, so make sure you're checking that out. But now we're talking about Club Brugge, Man United, Europa League football returns, last 32. Obviously this is where the tournament heats up, and like I mentioned earlier, still some very, very big teams in this tournament. Lazio, Roma, Ajax, Sporting, you know, Arsenal are still in the mix, Olympiacos, Istanbul, Besiktas, Sevilla. There's a lot of big, strong teams still in this tournament. So we need to get through this with as relative ease as possible and hopefully see what happens in the last 16. Thanks for the positivity. Keep up the good work. Big support from Canada. Thank you very much, Natil. Surely Martial needs to be fresh for the weekend. Can't understand that decision, says Andy. Maybe Igalo isn't ready to start yet. What we got to understand is, again, it sounds like I'm making excuses. I'm not. I'm just trying to rationalize decisions before we get angry about them. If I can't rationalize a decision, then I'll be like, what the fuck's going on there? But if I can, and I'm trying to rationalize the decision not to play Igalo, he's not played much football recently. The coming off the bench in the 89th minute against Chelsea was the most football he's had in months, so we need him to be getting up to fitness, and hopefully he comes off today with 20-30 minutes to go, comes off the bench, and then who knows, maybe starts against Watford at the weekend. But we need to just be relaxing a little bit with that and not rushing him, because we've brought him in to provide cover and of course be an option. What we don't want to do is rush him and then he gets injured. Manav says, I know it's from time back, but did you and Gary Neville ever get in contact after the vid from start of season? You got a lot of hate for that, but I got you. We're just trying to provoke. I weren't just trying to provoke, because a lot of the stuff I was right with. When you look at that, what I said in that video, I was right. And Gary Neville said stuff in that video like, one, we didn't need a strike, we didn't need to replace Herrera or Lukaku. Of which I was watching the game against Chelsea the other day, and he was talking about Igalo, and he said it's been clear for 12-18 months United need a striker. Bruv, you didn't say that in the summer. You didn't say that in the summer. And then he was saying stuff like Liverpool, United will win the league again before Liverpool and all that. So I weren't just trying to provoke. I was right as well. Yes, I was playing devil's advocate and asking questions and trying to, you know, just get a debate going. But also I was challenging his viewpoint a little bit. He never criticises the Glazers. He never criticised Ed Woodward until recently. He didn't criticise the recruitment at Manchester United. He never did at the start of the season. He said the squad was fine at the start of the season. So, you know what I mean? I think when you watch that video back now, I love Gary Neville, by the way, so I don't hate him. It's just a football debate, and that's why I kept it respectable. But when you look back to that, I think I was proven right, and that's not me saying, oh, I was right. I disagree with Daniel James. He's not been great, but at least he tries. That's fine, mate. That's the bare minimum, and he does. But let's not let that paper over performances, because you have to judge both. But yes, he does always give you that bottom level of, you know, chasing down players and things like that. It's turning into a Vanguard season for Ollie. Wins against big 16s, but can't be the teams we should do better against. I hear you. Thoughts on how we get the best out of Igalo. We've got to get him up to speed, get him fit. I think this kind of formation, this 3-4-1-2, is probably built up towards getting the best out of Igalo, because we're playing it at the moment. Against Chelsea, we had Daniel James and Martial up top. Doesn't really make sense. Today, we've got probably Lingard and Martial up top. Doesn't really make sense. But if it was Igalo and Martial up top, that does make sense, because then you got Bruno in the gap between the four and the two strikers pulling the strings. You got the big man and the pacey guy that can, Ighalo can use his strength and his holding up ability and his ability to link play. Martial can get active off that. Because what you've seen with Martial, what he loves to do is give and go. And Odion Ighalo does look like someone that would be able to do that and allow Martial to play well. A lot of people say Martial only plays well when Rashford plays in a team, and Rashford only plays well when Martial plays in a team. And I hear that because you see it. But also, I don't think that's just a case of them two missing each other. It's also a case of the fact that we haven't got any alternatives to them. Maybe if we had Ighalo and Bruno earlier in the season, Martial and Rashford wouldn't miss each other as much. We just haven't got any quality beyond them. That's the problem. Not that they miss each other. Get hitting that like button, guys. Get subscribing, get commenting, get sharing, get your super chatting in. We've got 20 minutes until kickoff. I'll be with you for the next couple of minutes as well, so make sure you're keeping it locked here on AdamMcKola TV. This is the preview. I didn't get to do preview before this game. I've had such a busy week. It was a Chelsea game on Monday. Tuesday I stayed in London for the Dave Chappelle show, and then Wednesday I had to go to Manchester to film Uncensored with Steve, which is up on Friday on Full Time Devil. So we had to do all of that, and it was just, I had a mental one, so I had to do the preview today, and I thought, why not do it when the team news dropped, to chat with you guys just as we head into the game, especially seeing as I'm not in Belgium. So get your thoughts in ahead of the game. Keep your thoughts coming in. Let us know your score predictions, and of course everything else. You were right in the Neville interview. Wings it, he goes along a bit like Ali is doing, says Glenn. Ighalo had to start this as Saint. Mate, he's played like 3 minutes of football in 3-4 months. Relax. The Chinese season ended a few months ago. I think it December or November. Ruman's not happy with the team at all. Top squad selection. Striker will be starved, and Martial gets blamed for not getting balls from the mid, says Ali Madness. Who will go off and come on and when? Depends on the score. But I imagine we might see Martial come off on the 75th minute for Ighalo. Lingard for James, maybe. Fred for Matic, maybe. That's the kind of subs I can see happening in this game. That is for sure. I want to see him play as saying, we do, but we got to relax. We'll play. McKenna thinks it's going to be 2-0 Delot and Tony Marshall to score. I hope Tony Marshall scores again. Sounds like a song. But I hope Tony Marshall scores again, because obviously you look at it and you think he's playing in the... He's had a bad January, that's for sure. Scored against Chelsea, pretty good goal. Need him to get on a run. If he can score today, score against Watford. He's on 15 goals this season, and then you're going into the back end of the season feeling positive rather than thinking, I need to get some goals and I need to try and make up for the last couple of months or whatever. So we need him to keep it going. Another good performance. Ighalo looked to be holding way too much muscle. He'll gas out easily, says IWIAY. There for Lingard, says Jacob. Should play the strongest team to get away goal, then substitute team players, says the Saint. I really hope Martial stops going into the 10 position. So frustrating to watch. I think now, Andy, we've got Bruno. I think he'll be less tempted to do that. Obviously, Bruno's not starting today, but fingers crossed he'll be less tempted to do that for the foreseeable future. So, guys, thank you for tuning in to the preview ahead of Manchester United against Club Brugge, which is kicking off in the next 15 minutes. Of course, if you've been watching this back just before the game kicks off, then thank you for tuning in as well. Thank you for tuning in live. Make sure you're subscribing, liking, commenting, sharing. I will be live after the game as well. I'm going to be live first on Full Time Devils, then I'm going to head over here, so make sure you're keeping it locked for that. But for now, guys, I have been AdamMcKola. This has been the preview for Manchester United Club Brugge in the first leg of the last 32 time. I'm going for a 2-0 win to Manchester United. The team news, in case you missed it: Romero, Maguire, Lindelof, Shaw, Delot, Andreas, Matic, Williams, Martial, Mata and Lingard. For now, guys, I am getting out of here. See you later.